Good morning, everyone. I'm Megan Cullip, along here with Scott Michlin.
Good morning, Megan Cullip. It is Thursday, March 18th.
That's me.
It's you. Yeah. Week?
53?
53.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 53.
53, everybody. Wow. I just have to let that sink in just for a moment.
I know. You were like mouthing it as I was getting ready to talk, and I'm like, what? What is he saying?
What are you talking about?
53,
yeah, 53. Yeah. Here we are. Anyway, welcome, everybody. We're glad that you are with us. It is our weekly COVID-19 community information program that continues on week 53. We will be here as long as the virus is here, which means we have permanent jobs, I guess.
Yeah, we're sticking it out with you guys.
We really are, but we're sticking it out because we have some great guests, too, and we appreciate them for their time. They'll be calling in this morning to talk to us live, beginning with Principal Tim Kienitz from Farmington High School. We're looking forward to speaking with him about face-to-face learning back in the high schools. The Taylors, Bev Taylor and Tara Taylor from Artifacts Gallery and the 302 Studio Bake Shop. Downtown.
Yes.
To talk a little bit about business.
Great bake shop.
Resiliency and all that they've been through this past year. And then we're going to get an update on movie theaters from Russell Allen of the Allen Theaters. So, how about that?
How about
it's
that?
A packed show.
It is. And
the
world is slowly opening back up, so.
It is, slowly and carefully, so that's where we are. But anyway, so let's get right to it, shall we? Shall we talk to our first guest?
Let's do it.
Because we're interrupting his spring break.
I know. We have to.
You're interrupting my spring break.
We need to make sure that we thank him for that.
That's okay. But Tim Kienitz is calling us in this morning, and good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well.
Scott, how are you? Good.
And Megan as well. I'm going to speak for her.
How are you?
Hey, good to hear your voice, Principal Kienitz. Why don't you tell us what's going on? I'm totally out of the loop. I guess you guys are resuming in-person learning, and this is after a long trial and error, a long time, distance learning. So can you just give us a current update?
Yes. Well, and it's hard to believe it's been kind of this time last year, wasn't it, that we went into quarantine and started learning from home, and this a big experiment. And I think it's been a long road, but we've learned a ton and had our shares of challenges. But we're excited. We've been for the last 4 weeks. With about a third of our students still staying virtual, and another 2/3 that have been coming in two days a week. So we've been in a hybrid learning format with, like I said, a third of them coming two days a week, Tuesdays and Wednesdays for one group, and Thursdays and Fridays for another group. And that's been about 500 students each of those cohorts. And so, March 30th is when we're set to return. And so with that, we've invited everyone back, but we will have, we still have allowed, and those that want to stay virtual can still continue to do that. And so we will have, the full gamut of folks.
Very good. And Principal Kienitz, tell us a little bit about kind of the preparations for that, because as you mentioned, until some students were allowed back just 4 weeks ago, the schools had been really basically almost empty, right? Your high school has been almost empty since last March.
Yeah, other than a couple, our jump start for high needs kids, we've had some of those students in, but other than that, it's been an empty building. And 4 weeks ago, so has been nice that we've had an opportunity to kind of adjust with a smaller group. And so we had a freshman group in just after President's Day and did an orientation with them, got them to know their classes. Our ninth graders never had even stepped foot on a campus other than maybe to take class photos. And so it was nice to kind of give them an orientation. Yeah, we have already gone through a pretty extensive preparation. We have arrows in the halls as to which way they walk, and all of the drinking fountains are closed off, and just the water bottles. We have dots on the floor for spacing. All of our classroom desks were separated by 6 feet. So quite a bit of preparation went into making the lunchroom ready, so everybody was sitting one to a table facing one direction. all of those things have, and our kids have done great. They've they've come back and they've really followed the guidelines, the masking and the distance and all of that. It's been amazing to see them just really desire to come back and learn and stay at it.
Yeah, and so let's talk about, I mean, we learned so much through this process, and I'm assuming that teachers are even more proficient at use of technology. Or is that going to be carried forward, or will there be, sort of this new system of watch this lecture at home and then have a discussion in person? I mean, has there been talk of that kind of stuff as far as how it's going to impact curriculum going forward, maybe gleaning some good stuff from this?
Well, absolutely. So our it has been a challenge, but our teachers have stepped up well. You go into a classroom right now, and this last few weeks where we've been back in hybrid, and having teachers both connect with the online learners from home and also those students that are in front of them. That's been an interesting process, and they've done a great job of it. And some of the tools that they've learned, and our biggest and best training has been with other teachers, presenting within our building to our own teachers. Every Monday we have professional development, and our best breakout sessions have been our teachers in Zoom meetings showing other teachers the new tools that they're learning, Padlet and Pair, and names I'm going to forget, but they have found Jamboard and all these new technology tools that our teachers have learned to pick up and use to engage students in a virtual way, and now in this hybrid fashion to do it with students in front of them as well.
Very good. And Mr. Kienitz, can you tell us a little bit about, I know you've been in education for a long time. You don't look it, but you have, because I've known you for a long time. And are you, with that, are you concerned, though, about maybe some of the students that aren't doing well, or that maybe have dropped off your radar and maybe aren't coming back, or you're looking for them or trying to re-engage with those students to complete their school year this year?
Yeah, hold on.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. What you know that this time last year we were trying to figure out how we were going to engage students who didn't have internet access at home, and students who, we didn't know if they were going to engage at all. We made, literally our clerical staff made thousands of calls to try to locate people. We have tutorial teachers that went and dropped things off, had drop-off pickup places at our food locations to find kids, and especially our seniors last year, to try to make sure that they got across. And it's no different this year. We've got students that for one reason or another are not able to connect or are not able to engage. Sometimes it's things outside of their control with things going on at home in the family through COVID. And then other times it's just, hey, let's motivate and engage in this new way.
Yeah, very good. Let's talk graduation. I know last year it was a drive-through, grab your diploma, is sort of making the best that we could. So what does graduation look like this year for the seniors?
Yeah, so right now, our plan is, and the proposal that has gone to the state from the district is to go ahead and have an in-person graduation. Now, we don't know what that's going to look like, if they're going to allow us to have just parents, or if they're going to allow, 4 family members. Now that sports is opened back up with some spectators, and we're at 50% in outdoor events, we're assuming that some of that will translate into what we can do for graduation. And so we're preparing both, virtually in case something happens, we have to go back to the virtual graduation. But we're also preparing for, an in-person graduation. We really hope to be able to, distance out on the field with our seniors, our graduates, and have it'll look different than it has in the past. But our hope is to follow the same guidance and guidelines that we've been given for outdoor sporting events, and actually we're set up right now in the Hutch Stadium for that. We're having actually football this Friday night, so we're going to follow the safe practices that we've been given, but our hope is to be able to give these seniors something other than just a drive-by graduation.
Very good. Well, I know, and those conditions are changing daily, it seems. So you are following all that closely with the state, and of course they will get the final, I guess, say as to about your plans. But you've got plans in place, it sounds like, for parents who are listening this morning.
Yeah, we'll adjust as needed. We've got a great crew. I know you helped out with that, Scott, last year, and sure appreciate all your input and always being a part of that. And but we've got we'll be ready if we have to go to a virtual. But that's not our hope. Our hope is to be able to give these seniors an in-person graduation and under certain guidelines.
Very good. Well, Principal Kienitz, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate your time, especially on spring break. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm in beautiful Phoenix right now. Our daughter's down here at college, so we're calling from there. But it's good to talk to you guys, and we appreciate what you're doing and keeping the community informed and up to date. So thank you.
Well, the feeling is mutual. Thank you very much, and travel safe back home.
All right. We'll appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. That is Principal Tim Kienitz from Farmington High School, our guest this morning here on KSJE. In Phoenix, spring break.
In Phoenix, yeah. No, I mean, hats off to...
That's like there's no more snow days. There's no more really, you can't escape
I'm fine
interviews
with there
on
being
spring break.
no more snow days, truthfully.
Yeah.
I mean, it's time to teach these kids how to work, Scott.
Really? Okay.
We can unleash...
I hope they got a little bit of a break.
We can unleash the rant later if we want. But,
there you go.
But, it's great to see how resilient this community's been, and that certainly is true for our teachers and administrators and clerical staff and food services and custodial.
All everybody. That's true. Very true. And speaking of resilience, we have our next guests.
Resilient bake shops.
Resilient and art galleries and downtown businesses and things along that line. Let's go to our next guests who are on the phone with us this morning. And good morning. You're on KSJE. This should be the Taylors.
Good morning, Scott. It's Bev.
Bev Taylor, good morning.
Tara.
And Tara is there too from the Studio Bake Shop and Artifacts Gallery, of course, in beautiful downtown Farmington. Thank you both for calling in this morning. We wanted to kind of ask you both, because I think the last time we talked with Tara, who actually was giving us a little bit of a tour of the place, the gallery and the bake shop, because you were closed down during some of the construction in downtown Farmington. That, of course, ended. And so I guess to get started, tell us just how things are going. You survived construction and COVID, and things are opening back up, we hope safely. And so how are things going?
Well, things so far, knock on wood, fingers crossed, are good. We did pretty well during lockdown. Tara did a lot of takeout orders and custom orders through the bake shop, even though people couldn't come in. They just could come in and pick up. We kept working down here. We did a lot of improvements in our building, and it was a great opportunity to do that because we didn't have people in the way. And so we could do things like paint the floors and varnish the old wooden floors and refinish some of the furniture. And so all of those things, we tried to keep really productive during our lockdown time. And now with the street open and our business open, I can just say that people are really sort of flocking in. And everybody that comes in says, we are so grateful you are open. And of course, we say to them, no, we are so grateful that we are open and that you are here. So it's a love fest right now because everybody wants to get out of the house, and we're just so happy to have our customers back.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly a good vibe down there. I can attest to that. Tara, let's go to you. Let's talk about what is the news in the bake world. I mean, I asked this question of every guest that we had this like year-long experience of maybe having some extra time and honing our crafts or something. What have you learned? What are we doing now? You're always coming out with something new and delicious. So what's the update there?
Let's see. I'm coming up with new ways to play with sugar. I'm got some really great ideas to sort of expand my menu into more healthy options, since I have quite a big crowd that will come and work, for the day. I have a lot of remote workers who want more than just a muffin or a cookie. They want something that can fill their bellies a little bit more. So I'm going to sort of branch out into things like that. But for me, I really love the custom cookie orders, and that's sort of what I like to push.
You bet. And Tara, shifting, just as following up on what Bev was talking about too, kind of shifting to takeout orders and those types of things, that had to happen pretty quickly. And I guess you probably learned a lot about doing that type of thing as well, just kind of shifting from in-house dining to takeout.
Yeah, my takeout was a little bit different though, just because I'm a one-person bakery. So everything would have to be pre-orders. So I would take orders throughout the week, and then I would have one day where people could pick up. So it was a little bit different than, say, a restaurant where they call in, this is what I want, and I would make it. So my takeout was a bit different.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we're always fascinated in how these restaurants survived. I mean, did you guys take advantage of the small business grants, or, you just really managed money well until this point? I mean, tell us a bit more about what it was like to try to survive this mess.
Well, for us, we're a little bit different. Number one, we don't have employees, and so we didn't have that part hanging over our heads. We also own our building, so that put us in a better spot, I guess you could say. We did apply for a couple of grants. We did get one, and that sort of helped us get through our Christmas season, and just kind of it helped keep our shelves stocked with all of our chili store stuff and inventory and things like that.
Good to know. And Bev Taylor, let me ask you too about the other artists there in the gallery. Obviously, if your doors are closed, people can't see the beautiful things that they have created. And I know you've been working with them too to try to keep them moving forward. And can you give us any insights on how that worked during this past year?
Well, it was interesting because I've probably got a half a dozen artists who are here every day. Working, and just because our doors were locked didn't mean that they would stop coming. And so we kind of created this little extended family unit down here where we were all kind of in this together, and they would all just come work in their studios, which, if people haven't been down, they're pretty spacious, and so there was plenty of social distancing even though we were all in the same building together. But many of them just kept doing their thing, working, and I know Marilyn Taylor was preparing for a show. I was busy sorting and cleaning, but I really took that opportunity to do that. But we created this great little community down here behind closed doors to just keep doing what we do. And many artists have new stuff for people to see once the doors opened, or new ideas. So it wasn't like we were sitting in the corner crying.
Right. Good. I mean,
yes, I can't see either one of you doing that at all.
Exactly.
Ever.
Nope. That's why we like you. But let's talk about, okay, so we had this huge update, the streets project, renovate the downtown project, never a good time for the pandemic, but here it happened in the middle of it. And so it's looking pretty good down there. Tell us how this is going to impact you guys' business, but also let's look towards summer. We usually have the art walk. We have all sorts of fun outdoor activities. What are your plans?
Well, I'm actually really glad, just to back up a little bit, that the construction and COVID hit the same year instead of different years. But the beginning of the year last year, when construction started, we still had a really good customer base. So I don't think construction was as hindering as we thought it would be. But then, of course, COVID hit. But now, we have lots of traffic downtown. I think more people are coming in. I think a lot of people come downtown to see the new construction. It's easier to park. It's easier to cross the street. I love the way it looks. I think it looks beautiful. As for the summer shows, I really don't know the answer to that question yet. I'm not sure. Yeah,
There is talk of bringing the art walks back in some form. I believe possibly May or June. It just takes a little reorganization to get the gears turning again.
Sure, understood. But I imagine if and when the art walks come back, artifacts will be a big part of them.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. One of the other fun things we accomplished was our building. We got the outside of our building repainted, which I've been wanting to get that done for several years, but we got that painted and updated, and so I think we look pretty classy right now as kind of a cornerstone to the historic downtown with all the other fun construction stuff that has happened.
It looks great. I would agree with that, and I think it's a wonderful beginning of downtown as we come into downtown now with the traffic circle right out front, the roundabout right out in front of the store, and the new look. So it's great. But I think you two have kind of demonstrated just how resilient you can be during all these things with construction and a pandemic, and still be able to keep the doors open and develop that sense of community, which is what it's all about.
And who would have thought, 2 years ago that this is where we would be? I mean, it is totally unimaginable. But I think the resilience of the human spirit and the creativity that has resonated through the last year makes me proud to be a human, because I just can't believe what has been accomplished in the last year through all of these horrific tragedies and the downturn in business. I mean, creativity, thinking about how to solve these problems has just, it's a marvel in some ways.
I agree. It gets me a little sentimental, actually, when I think about it. So Scott knows. So he's looking at me to tell me to tone it down. That's anyway.
All right. Well, it reminds us what we miss, that we haven't been able to gather as a community as much. So we miss that.
Yep. Reminds us of our needs and our spirit. Yep, go ahead.
It helps us realize that we truly are social animals. We really need to be around other people. And I think that's one thing that we've all missed, is the chance to get out and give somebody a hug and hobnob at social events and art walks and concerts and dinners and just walking outside with people, entertaining. And I think we have new appreciation for that.
Absolutely. Yep. That it may never be taken for granted again. Bev and Tara Taylor, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time and all that you do for our community.
Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.
You bet. Thank you both. Take care. Thank you. The Taylors from Artifacts Gallery and the Studio Bake Shop with us this morning here on KSJE. So, great. Construction and a pandemic in the same year.
I know.
That's what they got to deal with.
Yep.
So there you are.
Next caller.
All right. We have our next guest on the phone this morning, and we can go to them in just a second here as I get ready to get the right visuals on the screen, right? But good morning. You're on KSJE this morning, Mr. Allen.
Good morning. This is Nathan Allen, Executive Vice President, Allen Theaters. I know you were expecting Russell, but
yes,
he's busy this morning. But
well, thank you very much.
I'm with you now.
Well, I can say Mr. Allen, and I got a pretty good shot at getting it right. No matter who's on the phone.
Yeah.
So there you are. Thank you for calling in this morning, sir. We really appreciate it, because we wanted to talk a little bit about the Allen Theaters, of course, long time movie theater business in New Mexico, founded here in Farmington, and certainly now has screens all across several states in the Southwest, including New Mexico, but now Arizona and Colorado, dealing with different restrictions in all these different states and looking at your business. In New Mexico, we know it's now been exactly 1 year, a little over a year now, that your theaters have had to have been closed, correct?
That's right. Yep, it's been over 1 year.
And so, but in other states, you're not having to be closed, and so your theaters are open, I believe, in Colorado, correct?
So we're opening this Friday in Colorado. This coming Friday, we're opening in Durango. Cortez will remain closed probably until April 30th, and that's due to just the lineup of movies coming out. Hollywood's held back, and rightfully so. Held back a lot of movies, so they're a little hesitant on giving us our full lineup. But,
sure.
We expect that to be coming soon. So.
Right, and that's, I guess, the other side of the coin, right? Is that the state, if you have nothing to show, if the studios aren't producing films, then that's kind of the conundrum that you find yourself in, I suppose, right? At this point.
Yeah, that's correct. We've been fighting two battles through the pandemic. Of course, the pandemic and the shutdown, and then, like I said, Hollywood and their reluctancy to release movies, and rightfully so. I mean, New York City and LA are the two biggest markets in the world theatrically for movie theaters, and they have been closed until I believe 2 weeks ago. So.
Wow. Yeah, and so, you guys were doing drive-in movie theaters, at least here in Farmington, for a while. I don't know. That doesn't seem to in some time. I don't know if when we open, is it going to be at max capacity, or what kinds of things are you going to have to do to the building and the space?
Yes, great question. So right now the governor did give us a path to open under green, and that was just recent. Before her original green level, we weren't even allowed to open. We weren't even in that category. And so she did move us into green, and that's under green we can open at 25% capacity, but that's building capacity according to fire code, not seating capacity. So and with our recliners and things, we've cut down our seating capacity. When we moved to recliners, we cut 60% of our seats when we went to recliners, and so we can open safely. Our ventilation systems are good, and we've got great filters. Our ticketing system, when you book a ticket, it automatically blocks out the seats around you. So when we're able to open, and we're actually able to open in some of our towns, Hobbs, Gallup, Farmington. We're able to open under the county guidelines of 25%, but with the risk of shutting back down, because there have been some counties that have gone to green and then back to yellow. So with the risk of shutting back down, we're gonna hold off till that risk is minimal or not there. And we believe that's going to happen. Our goal is to open April 30th. Is to be open. All of our locations open April 30th is our goal.
Got you. And of course, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was just going to say Farmington may be a little sooner because our numbers in San Juan County are looking really good. That first couple days that we were in green, I think we had 18 cases in San Juan County, which put us out of staying in green. But ever since then, I believe we'll be in green again. So Farmington will be our first. If everything goes as planned, Farmington will probably be our next location that we open.
Gotcha. Well, I know there's a lot of folks listening who are excited to hear you say that. And as we move to hopefully green again next week when the new map comes out, and then two segments of green would be turquoise, that would certainly help pave the way for that. Are you hearing anything from your studios in Hollywood about new films coming out? I mean, are they reopening as well and moving forward with some of their productions?
Yeah, so far they're holding strong to May. Black Widow, they're going to release Black Widow, and that was something that was going to be released this time last year, but they held on to because of the pandemic. Obviously, all movie theaters were closed at the very beginning of this pandemic, and that's when Black Widow from Disney, that's a Marvel was supposed to come out, and they're holding strong to May. And then in June, there's a full lineup in June of movies. So things are looking positive. There's light at the end of the tunnel finally for us. So
yeah, and that's exciting. And so what about let's go back to the drive-in thing, because I love the drive-in movies. Are we going to have any of those this summer?
You know, we've talked about leaving it up and doing, the weather hasn't been great. Obviously, we've received snow, rain, wind. In the winter, just typically people don't want to come to the drive-ins, and that's when we shut it down. Just the weather was not great, and we don't get very many people, and it's too hard to keep everybody employed, especially right now, not knowing if we're going to open that weekend for drive-in or shut it down. So we made the decision to shut everything down and hibernate and let this pass. But to answer your question, we are going to leave the drive-in screen up on the side of the Allen 8 and do special drive-in showings. We've talked about doing premieres on Thursday night at the drive-in. We've talked about doing other things along with our regular movie theater. So
very good. Well, and it certainly has to be weather dependent. I understand you saying that because, but we live in New Mexico, so we love the weather, and many months out of the year it's drive-in weather. So there you go. And you mentioned something there, Mr. Allen, I wanted to pick up on, and that was that the business kind of went into hibernation. And I think that's an important point because a lot of folks were concerned that maybe the Allen Theaters company was going out of business or not going to be able to reopen. But it sounds like you all are just waiting, chomping at the bit to be able to unlock the doors and let folks back in as conditions allow. And that's, I guess, been by design from the very beginning. Is that kind of how it's gone?
Yes, absolutely. We were established in 1912, and we've been around a long, long time, and we've stayed out of debt, and it's saved us through this. Had we been in a lot of debt, there's a lot of movie theater companies that won't come back. The industry as a whole, the outlook remains strong. It gives us the opportunity to acquire and build our business. I wouldn't wish this pandemic, ever again, and it's been a horrible thing, but it's obviously we've been shut down for a year, and it hurts. We've lost a lot of money, but we're in good shape to reopen and be back better than ever. So.
Yeah, very good. Well, Nathan Allen of Allen Theaters, thank you so much for joining us this morning and offering your time, and we look forward to you guys being back in business.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you for calling in, and good luck, and we'll be catching up with you again in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Nathan Allen from Allen Theaters, our guest here on KSJE this morning, and that's great news. And they do have a long history, as he said, 1912.
1912?
Here in Farmington.
What are you even showing in 1912?
Well, whatever it was silent. I'll tell you that. It was a silent movie.
It was very silent.
That's what it was.
Very quiet.
But there you go. And comment on screen from Facebook again. Watch some films on TV, but would love to see them on the big screen. And that's for sure. That's what going to the movies is all about.
It's an experience.
That's right. That's very true. So anyway, back to the business at hand, and we'll share some local numbers before we go today. But those were all of our guests that we had planned on the schedule. So let me go back through and get back to our schedule here of what we wanted to talk about, because there are some vaccine clinics coming up we want to share with information about. Of course, we are here in Phase 1B in New Mexico. They are trying to, again, push the vaccine to folks in education, teachers, early childhood education, those staffs and things like that. We've been talking about that for the last couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
That those have been coming through. And so, again, a reminder to register at vaccinenm.org. so that when the vaccine is available for you, you get the appointment, you get the text message, the email, whatever the case may be.
Yes.
You can make your vaccine appointment and get the vaccine if you so desire. And again, the phone number, the hotline for a radio audience, if you're having difficulties registering, 855-600-3453. That is the number for support for vaccine registration. And so a couple of things. I'm going to take off the crawl here. I just put it on, but I'm going to take it off because, again, our friends at Care Drug, who we had on last week, if you remember, they're having a couple of clinics. Again, this one is in Aztec, on March 20th at 9 a.m., Fred Cook Stadium behind Kugler Middle School in Aztec. That is a vaccine drive-through. Again, this is from Care Drug. They are looking for all education staff, child care providers, and still looking for folks 75 years of age or older. First come, first serve clinic in the
No
Aztec
registration
area.
required.
That's right. So there's a form to print out and complete it and bring it with you for the drive-through. It's on the caredrug.com website. You can check that out. And then the first dose will be given, again, as we mentioned, on March 20th, beginning at 9 a.m. in the Aztec area. The second dose is going to happen same fashion on April 17th, same place and time to get you your second dose.
Yeah.
So that's how
So
that's going to work.
that's important. So make sure that you're available April 17th to complete the course.
That's right. Exactly. And then another opportunity is the One Dose and Done clinic, which is happening in the Bloomfield area, the Blanco area, and that is on March 24th at 1:30 p.m. Again, Care Drug is working with the National Guard and San Juan County Public Health to do this in the Blanco area, March 24th at 1:30 p.m. Again, this is the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, so it's one dose, and they are looking for, again, rural New Mexico community residents, including healthcare hospital personnel, long-term care facilities, first responders, congregate setting workers, persons providing direct medical care or other in-person services, home-based healthcare, and hospice workers, 75 years of age or older folks, and some of those other things as well. 16 plus at risk of COVID complications, K through 12 educators, early childhood professionals, and school staff. And so the state's requiring proof of employment and your state-issued ID, but there is, again, no other registration, and that's going to be, again, in the Blanco area, first come, first served, on March 24th, 1:30 p.m., just one dose, the Johnson & Johnson dose, and you are done at that event as well.
Yeah.
So that's great.
That is great.
And again, New Mexico is still doing a terrific job of getting vaccines out to the population. We are, I think, still number one in the country.
Doing a great job, and even better that we have all these private businesses jumping on board and helping us out
That's
with
right.
that as well.
Indeed. There you go. So cases?
Cases, Johns Hopkins University numbers, we have 29,608,409 confirmed cases in the United States. The confirmed deaths in the United States from COVID-19 are now at 538,095. So,
There you go.
There you go.
And again, we can kind of see that other graph there in the lower right hand of the screen. Kind of the number of cases has certainly dropped down a lot since where they were in end of the year, December, but they're kind of plateauing, and that's what's concerning some folks, is that that's not sustainable, or that plateau is going to maybe make another surge happen, perhaps.
As opposed to
dwindling
dipping
off.
more and
Yeah,
more.
right.
Yeah.
So more manageable, smaller numbers. But
Okay.
we'll keep an eye on it.
Yep.
And see what happens with that. There you go. The numbers in New Mexico, again, 255 new cases yesterday. It's a bit higher than we have seen, 188,907. 6 of those new cases were in San Juan County, 13,622 total cases now, and 12 additional deaths in New Mexico yesterday for a total of 3,872, and one of those was here in San Juan County. We have now 452 deaths associated with COVID-19. And then also reported yesterday 785 new recoveries for a total of 168,976. And I will point out, I think it's notable, one day this week, there were 0 new cases and 0 deaths in San Juan County on one of the daily reports.
Yeah.
So
Huge.
we look forward to that.
It's huge.
More of those.
Yep.
That'd be great to see. So, on the Navajo Nation, we can report that, again, they had 10 additional cases yesterday, 3 additional deaths reported on Wednesday, for a total now of 29,968 cases, 1,222 deaths. That is on the Navajo Nation. There was a nice little vigil, if you will, in Window Rock, I think commemorating the 1-year anniversary of the first case reported on the Navajo Nation. And that was earlier this week. So these milestones
Sobering.
that we keep hitting is exactly right. So let's see. The other thing we want to pass along before we go today, the testing is still happening out at McGee Park. 6 days a week.
Register online at curative.com, or if you cannot register online, you can call 1-888-702-9042. That also is a highly efficient, streamlined process. It's saliva-based, so
Right.
if you were worried because of the nasal pharyngeal stuff in the beginning, this one is not that. This one is very easy.
Right. And they're still doing that 6 days a week.
Yep.
Out at McGee Park, 8 to 3, Monday through Friday, 8 to 2 on Saturdays. And again, the map that we always show of how to get in and out. But that is still happening. So there you go.
There you go.
And a couple other
Lastly,
things.
Echo, right? Yep.
A couple of things, right? Some food giveaways, some food opportunities. This one is already ongoing this morning. Huerfano chapter. They started this. The lineup was at 8:30. They began handing it out at 9 a.m. at the Huerfano chapter. That was happening this morning. Again, we're at March 18th. There's another one this afternoon in Blanco Elementary School at 4 p.m. today. First come, first served. Again, they're asking for folks from that area, so not folks traveling across the county to go to Blanco to do that, because there are other opportunities closer to home for sure. So that's happening today. And then on Friday, March 26th, there'll be another distribution at the Echo Food Bank proper in Farmington, 401 South Commercial. And so again, that is being made available as well. So we want to pass those things along as we hear about them. So
Yeah.
very important
Great.
community information, which is what the program is all about. So there, now I think we have fulfilled our
We've covered a lot of bases.
the plan for today.
The plan.
And some great guests. We appreciate all of them calling in.
Appreciate the guests. Appreciate all of the charitable work. Echo.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly. So
yeah.
It's
Like
wonderful.
Bev Taylor said, makes you pretty proud to be a human being.
It really does.
Yeah.
Go humans. So
Go humans.
there you go. But we're going to go, but we'll be back next week with more community information and more stuff to share with our community. And we appreciate you guys being with us every week. Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing the program and getting it out to folks who maybe aren't watching on YouTube or listening to the radio as often as the rest of us do. So we really appreciate you sharing the program. Thanks so much. Have a good one. See you next week.